Well, yes, I know, dearie, but it's late, and we need to be inside. It's getting to be that time of year again that I just absolutely get eat up by mosquitoes. Well, yes, if I'm sitting out on the porch after dark, I swear I'm going to burn that citronella bush to the ground for not doing its job. But anyway, yes, where were we? Oh, right, the giants. Well, we had rested and got our strength back, and we knew the giants were coming. As I do every morning, I did a quick spread of my cards to see what was going to happen. Oh, yes, dearie, I've done that ever since I was a little girl riding in the caravan. Believe it or not, I've been reading cards since before I could read words, but we'll get into that another time. The cards told me that the villagers might be in danger, so I let the rest of my friends go on ahead to the north side of town, while I went to the mines to check on the people that we were meant to be protecting. They were all huddled in the mines still. The giants had set up camp outside, so they weren't going anywhere, but they were safe enough. Well, thankfully, we'd had the foresight to bring food and drink into the mines while we were corralling them, so they didn't really have anything to worry about. Yes, aside from the giants. But they didn't have to worry about those either. We had it completely under control. Anyway, while I was checking up on them, and chewing the mayor out a bit for being so slow to act, I heard rumblings coming from the far side of the village. The giants were early, can you believe it? So I flattened myself against my broom and I pushed her for everything she had. Thankfully, my broom was made well, otherwise I might not have gotten there in time. Well, it can't have been more than 30 seconds, but it felt like 20 minutes before I got across the village to my friends, who were already holding off the giants. The giants had also brought some of their underlings, mostly kobolds, who were just looking to feed off the scraps the giants left behind. They weren't the issue, though, so we mostly just let them be. Well, I do have to say, it was going better than I expected when I got there. Kale was on a rooftop firing arrows, but he must have been more hungover than we thought, because they kept going wide for some reason. And when your target's a giant, that's almost more impressive than actually hitting them. Urgal was in the thick of it, slashing at their ankles with his sword. Well, he'd just gotten it, you know. To this day, I'm still not sure I like it. There was something off about it, and I swear it was cursed, even though we'd taken it to several priests, and they all assured us it was fine. Silas and Mithra were spellcasters, so they were able to maintain a good distance from the actual fighting. Mithra was targeting them individually, while Silas just cut big gashes of darkness through the streets. Let me tell you something, dearie. I'm glad he's on our side, 'cause some of the things that he's capable of, well, I tell you, I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of it. So by the time I got to the scene, there wasn't much left. I threw some fire around and toasted a few giants' backsides, and the survivors ran off. But we knew this was just the forward scouting party. The real fight was still ahead of us. Well, we took a quick rest and gathered our wits about us, and the guards of the city helped us get some food together. The giants were mad that they had been cheated out of food for so long, so we were going to bring them several carts piled high with it and try to negotiate. Well, if negotiations went poorly, we'd take them out. Hopefully it wouldn't come to that, but we were prepared to fight to defend the town if we had to. So we went around to a bunch of the abandoned taverns and food stalls and piled a few carts, and then I crawled into the first one, and it wasn't bad. It was breads and cheeses, a few big salamis, so I just snacked for a bit while we traveled northward. Well, why did I get in the cart? Well, let me tell you, dear. Silas and Mithra might be able to cast spells like me, but they were lacking some of the craftiness that comes with a few centuries of being on this plane. Anyway, the plan was to negotiate with the leader of the giants, and if it went well, we would leave peacefully. If the leader wanted to fight, I was gonna pop out of the cart and turn him into a frog. Then I'd just take him on the broom far, far away, and without a leader, the rest of the giants would be fairly helpless and just go back wandering in the mountains. It started out well enough. Urgal talked to the leader laughed at Urgal, the leader made fun of Urgal for being small, and the rest of us for being small, and then decided that he didn't actually want to negotiate. So I came out, and with a few good words and a swords card covered in clove oil and salt, I turned that giant into a snail. That's not what I meant to happen, but it worked. I snatched him up and turned to leave, but what I didn't realize was that he had some of his giant friends waiting off in the forest with javelins. One of them caught me in the back something fierce, and I dropped the snail, which turned back into the leader because I lost focus. And you know what the first thing he did was? Well, he raised his club, and he smashed me into the dirt. Now, baby, when I say I could see the Reaper coming for me, I'm not exaggerating. I was on death's doorstep. And once the ringing in my ears cleared, all I could hear was my friends yelling at me to take one of the healing potions we'd bought. But your granny ain't no quitter, and I ain't no weakling neither. So as soon as I could move again, I marched right towards the giant. Mithra had hit him with a spell, and he was flat on his back. So I took out my 9 of swords and put every bit of strength I had into it before slamming it against his forehead. Well, I won't go into all the details, dearie, but we'll just say the leader was... Well, we'll say he was down for the count. Kale had finally figured out how to string his bow correctly, and he and Urgal were chasing off the ones that Silas hadn't captured in his horrible inky cube spell. So we chalked it up as a victory, and went back to town to give them the good news. The giants were scattered, and wouldn't be an issue like that again. What? Oh no, dearie. We weren't cheered. In fact, most people were pretty upset that we'd taken all their food and wanted us to get out of town. But we weren't working for them, so once our job was done, we had no reason to stay anyway. Well, we spent the night in a tavern, since we'd already paid for it, and left at first light to head towards the coast. Well, that was right before we bought a boat, you see. But that's another story altogether. Alright, sweetie, you go on your way now. Get home safe. Don't be making your granny worry now.